Pakistan calls itself a democracy. But is it truly a democracy? Are the people of Pakistan free to choose their leader in these elections? No. One of the most popular men in Pakistan who led the country as Prime Minister is not allowed to fight elections this time. Nor are his party members of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf PTI finding it easy to contest these elections. Let's look at the situation PTI is in. After being convicted in 3 cases just short of almost a week of the elections, Imran Khan has been convicted in 3 cases just short of almost a week of the elections. Even his wife and second-in-command are in jail. Their party's symbol has been snatched and PTI candidates are being issued random symbols to fight with. But before we paint him a victim, let's also understand that it is believed that Imran Khan got the top job in the government with the help of benefactors who have now turned his grave diggers, the military top brass, the kingmakers of Pakistan. Army has directly or covertly ruled Pakistan for many years. If it doesn't have a general sitting in the president's post, then it installs someone who is in bed with them. Let's take a look at the history of the not-so-democratic Pakistan. It all began with a confusing power matrix after its independence from British and partition from India. Pakistan appointed Liaquat Ali Khan as the first Prime Minister, and while Lord Mountbatten became the first Governor General of independent India, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was appointed the Governor General of Pakistan. But as fate would have it, Jinnah didn't rule that long. But the power of the post he inaugurated in Pakistan kept interfering with the prime ministers of the country. The powers of the PM slowly began to be reduced. 6 prime ministers were dismissed by the Governor General from 1951 till 1957. The man in the position of Governor General may have changed, but their power playbook continued to be the same. Then in 1956, after Constitution was adopted, the Governor General transformed into the President of Pakistan, while declaring the country an Islamic Republic. The first general elections were to be held in 1959. But power in Pakistan is easily grabbed. On 7th October 1958, the first President of Pakistan, Iskandar Mirza, abrogated the Constitution of 1956, dismissed the 7th Prime Minister's central and also the provincial governments, dissolved the central and provincial legislatures, and declared martial law throughout the country. In doing this, Mirza was supported by the Commander-in-Chief of the Pakistan Army, General Muhammad Ayub Khan, who was also appointed as the Chief Martial Law Administrator. That was the opening of the floodgates. From now on, Army was forever linked with the politics in Pakistan. On 27th October 1958, Muhammad Ayub Khan toppled Iskandar Ali Mirza, who was exiled. Thus began the martial law. This is where the judiciary of Pakistan also failed its countrymen. When the case came up in the Supreme Court, the coup was held valid. The substance of the judgment was that since the constitution was abrogated and its government came to power by imposing martial law, and since there was no protest amongst the people, the coup was a successful one. The martial law and military government were legally valid. The court maintained that victorious revolution or successful coup was an internationally recognized legal method of changing a constitution, and the revolution having become successful in Pakistan, it satisfied the efficacy of the change and became a basic law-creating fact. In simple language, it was legal and valid. Ayub Khan left office a decade later in 1969, after appointing General Yahya Khan as his successor. In turn, Yahya Khan held on to the position till 1971, when he resigned after having lost the 1971 war to India. Also, the Supreme Court of Pakistan had overruled the decision of earlier case and held that the martial law proclaimed by Yahya Khan was illegal and that his assumption of power on 25th March 1969 was wholly unconstitutional and could not be recognized as valid. The court said the principle laid down in Doso's case is wholly unsustainable and cannot be treated as good law, either on the principle of stare decisis or even otherwise. For a brief period, democracy saw the light of day in Pakistan. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, a Pakistani statesman and politician, served as president from 1971 to 73 and prime minister from 73 to 77. Although a popular leader, he was overthrown and executed by the military. The government was seized by General Muhammad Ziaul Haq, the Army Chief of Staff, on July 5, 1977. Soon afterwards, Zia suspended political parties in 1979, banned labour strikes, imposed strict censorship on the press and declared martial law in the country. He ruled the country with an iron fist and Islamic outlook. On December 30, 1985, after confirming his own position in a controversial Islamic referendum, completing a fresh round of non-party elections of the provincial and national assemblies, and introducing a series of amendments to the 1973 Constitution, Zia finally lifted martial law and announced the dawn of new democratic era in Pakistan. But this democracy was chaotic and under the looming shadow of General Zia till 1988, when his plane mysteriously crashed, or as some say, exploded. After his death, elections of 1988 were based on political party platforms for the first time in 15 years. None of the parties won the majority of the National Assembly, but the Pakistan People's Party emerged as the single largest holder of seats. Benazir Bhutto, the PPP's chairperson, was named Prime Minister after the PPP formed a coalition of smaller parties to form a working majority. For another decade, the politics of Pakistan was chaotic, with constant struggles between the Prime Minister, the President, whose powers were strengthened by General Zia, and the army. Then, as was bound to happen, Pakistan's history was repeated, and in 1999, General Pervez Musharraf, in a coup, dismissed Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. He ruled in some form or the other for more than a decade. He reinstated the constitution in 2002, though it was a heavily amended constitution with the Legal Framework Order, or the LFO, a provision of which extended his term as president for another 5 years. Parliamentary elections were held in October 2002. In 2007, Musharraf sought re-election to the presidency, but he faced opposition from Pakistan's Supreme Court, primarily over the issue of his continuing to serve simultaneously as both president and head of the military. The poor performance of Musharraf's party in the February 2008 parliamentary elections was widely seen as a rejection of the president and his rule. The elections yielded an opposition coalition headed by Sharif and Asif Ali Zardari, the widower of former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, who had been assassinated in December 2007. Now, in 2008, Musharraf stepped down under pressure from domestic and international forces. Since then, army has used opposition parties and puppet politicians to control the government. There has been no martial law or no coup, but in Pakistan, these are always just around the corner. Pakistan's 127 million voters once again get to elect a new parliament. The elections are the 12th in the country's 76-year history, which has been marred by economic crises, military takeovers and martial law and militancy also, along with political upheavals and wars with India. 44 political parties are vying for a share of the 266 seats that are up for grabs in the National Assembly, or the lower house of parliament, with an additional 70 seats reserved for women and minorities. After the election, the new parliament chooses a prime minister. If no party wins an outright majority, then the one with the biggest share of assembly seats can form a coalition government. Do tell us what you think about this video in the comment section, and for more news updates, subscribe to India Today.